just ring the other bell. Let's go for it.
Good evening and a Merry Christmas to you all. I am Mandy Lee Garofalo. I use she, her pronouns, and I'd like to welcome you to Bucksmont Unitarian Universalist Fellowship's multi-platform worship. We're moved by love. We share lifelong journeys of growth, wonder, and healing, nurturing wholeness in society and spirit, creating a community of justice and compassion. I'd like to give a welcome to everyone joining us online and in person tonight, members, friends, and those who may be newcomers to our community this evening. As we begin our service, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. If you are new to Bucksmont and visiting us in person tonight, please stop by our visitor center in the front hallway near where you came in. There you can also make a name tag for yourself and find more information about Unitarian Universalism, Bucksmont Fellowship, and upcoming events. If you'd like a hymnal or a printed order of service, those are available near the entry to our sanctuary. Also, there are candles over there that you will need later. If you are visiting us online or prefer digital methods, please email our office administrator, Beverly, to sign up for our email newsletter and to get connected to our congregation. You may also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Bucksmont UU. If you'd like to see the order of service, details about upcoming services, and other ways to gather with our community, you can find that on the homepage of our website, www.bucksmontuu.org. Our Sunday morning services happen each week at 10:30 a.m. and include influences from many religious traditions. Come explore with us anytime. Oh, here's the candles, sorry. Near the end of our service, we will light candles during Silent Night. Please have yours ready. If you are joining us online, we invite you to light a candle with us when the time comes. Whether you are a guest, friend, or member, it is good to have you with us tonight, and we are glad you are here.
As we gather in our sanctuary, in our homes, or watch from mobile screens almost anywhere, we are all together. Those watching now, those watching tonight, and those who may be watching months from now. We are joined together for worship across both space and time. This is a free, creedless religious congregation. In the discipline of truth and the spirit of universal kinship, we join together in a cooperative quest for religious and ethical values, seeking to apply these values to the development of character, enrichment of the spirit, and service to all. You are welcome here, whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever the color of your skin or your country of origin, no matter your gender expression or gender identity, whatever your age, however you define family, wherever you are at this time, whenever you rejoice in the season, and whatever the source of your faith, on this night of all nights, you are welcome here.
This night, as we do each time we gather, we kindle our Unitarian Universalist chalice. We do so tonight with words from Dan Lambert. We gather together on this Christmas Eve as fellow sojourners looking for light, for hope, for peace, and for love. We gather as people from many backgrounds, many faiths, many cultures, and many spiritual paths. But as we light this chalice, we gather as one body, looking to the Nativity for its message to all humanity. Its message is that there is light, there is hope, there is peace, there is love. Please light your chalice at home. Our common chalice is now lit.
For each of the last 4 Sundays, we've lit candles on the Advent wreath. Each light was a step into winter. Towards the turning of the year, we're leaning into expectation, into all that is being born in us at this holy time. When the unknown lies before us, rich with possibility, tonight we add the light of the Advent candles for this time of year. First, we light the candle of hope, for that which is best in us to rise and enliven our souls and our relationships. The second candle we light for peace, for the courage to soften what is rigid in our hearts, to find the soft spot and stay with it. We light the third candle in the name of joy, joy in the shape of gratitude for all that is our life, and joy in expectation of the world that we are building and creating with one another. The fourth candle is lit in the name of love as the creating force in our lives. And finally, we light the central candle, the light that shines in bleak places with the full power of our faith. We know, says Reverend Bill Sinkford, how real the brokenness of the world is, but we will not give brokenness the last word. May this light bear our hopes as well as our faith in love, in goodness, in compassion, in justice. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness shall not overpower it.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Parker, and I'm happy to be here this evening. My pronouns are they, she, and I invite you to please stand in body or spirit and sing "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear."
Their harps of gold.
strife the world has suffered long. Beneath the angel strain have rolled 2,000 years of wrong. And we who fight the wars hear not the love song which they bring. Oh, hush the noise of battle strife, and hear the angels sing. For lo, the days has turned in nigh, the prophet bards foretold, when with the ever-circling years comes round the age of gold, when peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendors fling. And though the world give back the song which now the angels sing.
From the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 through 20. In those days, a decree went out from the Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was in the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them.
Kinderlein kommet, o kommet doch all, zur Krippe kommet in Bethlehem Stall, und seht, was sieht dieser hochheiligen Tag, der Vater im Himmel für Freude uns macht. O seht in der Krippe, knäglichen Stall, seht hier bei den Strand in reinlichen Wintern das himmlische Kind viel schöne und holder als Engel es sind. Da lieg es das Kindlein auf Heu und auf Stroh. Maria und Joseph betrachten es froh. Die redlichen Hirten kin bentend der Wohl. Hoch oben schwebt, jubelt et Engelein Chor. O beugt wie die Hirten und bettend die Knie, erhebet die Hände und danket wie sie. Stimmt freudig, ihr Dwinder, wird wohl sich nicht freuen. Stimmt freudig zum Jubel der Engel mit ein.
I share these words about what the lesson of Christmas can be for us from Reverend Dr. Kendall Gibbons, and what it means to practice this sturdy holiday in the hard years too. Let's be clear, Jesus is not the reason for the season. The Christians are Johnny-come-latelys to this business. But let's also be clear that they weren't stupid. The assumption that the date of the Mass celebrating the birth of Christ is supposed to mark the actual anniversary of that birth is a relatively modern confusion. When the Church co-opted the Roman holiday of Saturnalia for the celebration of Christ's Mass, they weren't claiming that Jesus was literally born on that day, only that they were going to celebrate on that day the fact that he was at some point born. So the agricultural reality that there aren't shepherds out in the Judean hills on December 25th is irrelevant, and we should get over it. Indeed, there's a lot of unproductive posturing among literalists of all stripes that arises from mistaking what kind of time we are talking about. So it might be useful to clear up some of that confusion. Anthropologists have long identified two distinctive conceptions of time. Our ancestors understood time primarily as cyclical and recurring. The seasons, the tides, the days and nights, planting and harvest, birth and death. Every part of life had its appropriate moment, and everything came full circle eventually. The goal of human life was to cooperate with these rhythms and fit into them so that the cycles flowed smoothly and things unfolded as they were supposed to. But at some point, linear time comes to predominate, and the arrow of history points in one direction only. In linear time, it is unique achievements and lives and moments that matter, for they move history forward in the direction of the unknown and make novelty possible. In cyclical time, nothing truly new can ever happen because everything is a repetition of what has been before and will be again. And it seems to me that there is yet a third kind of time, which I would call mythic, the time of the eternal now. It is the structure of once upon a time and ever after, what some Aboriginal peoples call in the dreaming. Mythic time does not distinguish between fact and story. Kris Kringle lives in mythic time alongside Antiochus Epiphanes and Moses and Cinderella and Ebenezer Scrooge and little Lord Jesus asleep in the hay. The images and archetypes of mythic time are not arguable. Their truth lies not in their historical accuracy, but in the power of their stories to move us and to help us collectively define a fully human life. Which brings us back to Christmas. One of the great things about Christmas is that it is a sturdy holiday. Christmas doesn't wimp out when times are hard. It comes anyway, even if there are hardly any presents, even when there isn't much food to make a feast with, even if you're sad, even if the world around you is at war, even if you are living in fear and danger and oppression, Christmas still comes. And when it comes, Christmas is subversive. Christmas with its story of an unwed mother and a doubtful father, with its legend of a helpless baby born in a stable who was worshipped by some of the wisest, richest men in the world, with its tale of the child pursued by the deadly wrath of kings, who escaped as a refugee to a foreign land far from home. Christmas, with its ancient, enduring summons of peace on earth, goodwill to all people everywhere. You can't stop a day like that with a little hardship or greed or injustice. It will show up anyway, shining the light of a midnight star into the darkest places of our collective lives. Do not underestimate the power of the manger and the hope that it holds. The Christmas song of the angels is not as innocent as it sounds. It has turned the world upside down before now. It still can.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing O Little Town of Bethlehem. O little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wondering love. O morning stars together proclaim the holy birth. Let praises ring from God they bring, goodwill to all on earth. How silently the wonder is made known when God imparts to human hearts the gift that is our own. No ear may hear that coming, but in this worldly din, when souls are truly humble, then the dear babe rests within.
This is the season of giving, a season of expectation and hope. In the ancient story of the birth in Bethlehem, there was no room in the inn, and the couple expecting their first child found shelter in a stable. Today, people still journey, seeking shelter, seeking freedom. People struggle to meet life's demands and live with dignity. In this season of giving, we express our gratitude in taking up this collection. Our offering will benefit the minister's discretionary fund. This fund is the descendant of the historic Parsons Purse, which was money donated to the local cleric to be used for the good of others in the congregation or the community at large. The money collected by Bucksmont Unitarian Universalist Fellowship for this purpose is dispersed by our minister for emergency needs. To give and receive freely is a blessing we can give to one another. And so I invite you to be as generous as you are able and to take great joy in the collective good this money will do. This act of giving and receiving is how we can bring more light and more love into a world of great need. The offering will now be received. Our community continues to grow and thrive due to generous donations of both time and money. For the many ways that you contribute and how it sustains this fellowship, we are truly grateful. This evening's reading is Christmas Comes Whether You're Ready or Not by Cynthia Fredo. I'm always in a bit of shock when December 1st arrives on the calendar. I always feel like there should be at least another week beyond Thanksgiving before I can even contemplate the next holiday. I think, however, that beyond the incredible demands of the season, the hardest part to reconcile is that the heart is not always in sync with the angels, presents, babes in a manger, and the ho, ho, ho that is Christmas. Sometimes it feels like you just go through the motions because that's what's expected. Sometimes I wish Christmas would take a vacation and return midwinter next year. Yet, there is something compelling about the fact that Christmas comes no matter what. The celebration of the birth of Jesus comes no matter the season of your heart. The Prince of Peace, the baby that would bring a message of universal equality, compassion, forgiveness, and love, is reborn again and again and again, no matter our state of mind or being. Indeed, in spite of it. Perhaps that is the real miracle of the season, that hope and possibility cannot be denied. As I contemplate the state of the world at this moment in time, I cannot think of anything more needed than a reminder of our potential to bring peace and healing and possibility into our lives. We don't always feel it or see it or think it is there. But then there comes Christmas, even when we aren't ready to receive it. A reminder that no matter what season of the heart that we are in, no matter what struggles or grief are consuming us, Christmas will not let us forget the light that was born in us, even on the darkest night of our souls. So even if you can't deal with all the razzle, dazzle, and expense of this holiday, at the very least, open the inn door and prepare the manger of your heart for the gentle but powerful message that is seeking to be reborn in you. Never forget that you are a child of the universe, and where there is life, there is light and love and hope waiting to be reborn again and again and again. So turn on some twinkling lights, pour yourself a glass of eggnog, or not, and wait for that angel chorus to announce your heart's rebirth.
My love, my pride, my treasure, oh, my wonder new and pleasure, oh, my sun, my beauty ever you. Who am I to bear you here? The cause of talk and tell am I, the cause of greatest fame am I, the cause of proudest care on high, to have for mine the King of all. And though you are the King of all, they sent you to a manger stall, when at your feet they all should fall, and glorify my child the King. There shone a star above three kings, to guide them to the King of Kings. They held you in their humble arms, and knelt before you until dawn. They gave you myrrh, they gave you gold, frankincense frankincense and gifts untold. They traveled far these gifts to bring, and kneel before their newborn King. My love, my pride, my treasure, oh, my wonder new and pleasure, oh, my son, my beauty ever you. Who am I to bear you here?
This month, we have rejoiced in several holidays as a congregation: Advent, Hanukkah, the winter solstice, and both this morning and this evening, Christmas. One of the threads we have woven throughout the month is how our holidays are a part of rejoicing even in, or especially in, a weary world. The idea isn't meant to lead to false joy or forced joy. I understand this isn't the month or perhaps the specific holiday that brings the most joy to each and every person. Our holidays, however, do have the power to bring about a joy that is a form of resistance to the weariness we might experience. Psalms are sung sometimes in defiant joy, in joy that knows the sting of loss and still refuses to go quietly into the night. This is the joy, whether exuberant, defiant, resistant, or complicated in your own lived human way, that we hope to evoke this night. I hope for you a joy that holds up to the real, lived experiences of this past year, not one that seeks to cover them up, but one that embraces all that you are, all that the world is, and finds a spark of light there, waiting to grow. There is a deep connection between the Christmas story and the lives of Christians living in Gaza and the West Bank today. A tiny minority, only about 2% of the population of the West Bank, and approximately 1,000 people in Gaza, trace their practice of Christianity back to its origins. Reverend Dr. Munther Isaac is the pastor of the Evangelical Lutheran Christmas Church in Bethlehem, and he writes, "Where is God in war? God is under the rubble." The nativity scene at his congregation is different this year, as so much is different. In a corner of their sanctuary, a pile of broken stones, rubble, with an infant figurine lit by candlelight, and the other figurines of the nativity scene placed almost haphazardly amidst the stones. Pastor Isaac's words and images of this nativity have brought attention from around the world to what it means to have Christmas in the middle of a war zone. In a Washington Post story, Pastor Isaac is quoted as saying, "This is what Christmas looks like in Palestine. This is the true message." He goes on to say, if Jesus were born today, he would be born in Gaza amidst the rubble. Here we have a message that gets to the core of what Christmas is all about. We've mixed in over the many years our own ways of celebrating it, connecting it to the returning of the light, a time of family and shared meals, gifts given and received, and pulled in pieces of nature with evergreen trees lit up. From tonight's reading, yet there is something compelling about the fact that Christmas comes no matter what. The celebration of the birth of Jesus comes no matter the season of your heart. The Prince of Peace, the baby that would bring a message of universal equality, compassion, forgiveness, and love is reborn again and again and again. No matter our state of mind or being, indeed in spite of it. Perhaps that is the real miracle of the season, that hope and possibility cannot be denied. As I contemplate the state of the world at this moment in time, I cannot think of anything more needed than a reminder of our potential to bring peace and healing and possibility into our lives. We don't always feel it or see it or think it is here. But then there comes Christmas, even when we aren't ready to receive it. My own experiences of Christmas are infused with joy. It is one of the touchstones of my entire year. I remember Christmases as a child, the presents, the anticipation, the time off from school, our house lit up in every room, garland around every single door, more stockings than family members up the railing of the stairs, and family visiting on Christmas Eve. My mother doesn't decorate her home for Christmas anymore, which only underscores the fact she mostly didn't do it because she liked it. She did it because she wanted to make memories for me. The whole marking of the holiday was a gift in and of itself. Memories that form a foundation of joy for me as an adult. My own celebrations of the holiday are different now, as I imagine most people's lives change over time, and how they mark their favorite holidays do too. And I know this. I wrote my homily for this evening while listening to Christmas carols at full blast, in a house lit up with Christmas lights once again made possible by someone who wouldn't have done it for themselves. Each light a small gift in the night. What Christmas means for me this year is added on, like another ring of growth in the trunk of a tree. Some years are overfilled with laughter and light. Some years are infused with lament and exhaustion. Some years, most years if I'm being honest, are a mixture of all these things, because that is what it means to be fully present in the world. We are asked to hold complex things and sometimes contradictory things at the same time. And yet we return to Christmas again and again and again. Something compelled you to this sanctuary tonight. Maybe it was habit or family obligation. Maybe it was a remembering and reconnection to the practice from your own childhood. Maybe it was a desire for the psalms of this holiday, sung in a group in the night. Maybe you are reinterpreting what it means to mark this holiday for yourself. Maybe it was a desire for that moment of magic at the end of the service when we light candles in the dark. Maybe it is part of your job to be here, or you volunteered to help make this night happen for others. And maybe it is because this is one of your favorite holidays each year. It is the one you wait for, marking the progress of Advent in your heart as the days shorten, the temperature dips, and the twinkle of lights are added to every surface in your home. All of these pieces can be part of our holidays, but let us not forget the revolutionary parts of the story, the parts that call us and call to us during the darkest, hardest years of our lives. One reading of the story is that a specific child was born into poverty, would usher in change the world over, to be a herald, to be the namesake of a religion that would become a global tradition, one practiced year after year during wartime and peacetime. Another reading of the story is that each child that is born has the potential to change everything, and they do. They change their families by their very presence. They change each life they encounter, and some, but we can never be sure which, may change the course of the world too. Each child holds the potential to save us, to draw us together, to inspire us to change, and to help usher in a society that centers love for all rather than for a few. Each child born has the potential to change everything. As a weary world rejoices, as Christmas comes, whether we are ready or not, as love is found amidst the rubble of war, may we remember that each night a child is born is a holy night. So may it be.
Please join us in singing "For So the Children Come." We will sing the verse, and between each verse, Kevin will read the narration. Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
For so the children come, and so they have been coming, always the same way they come, born of the seed of a man and a woman.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers, mothers, parents, sitting beside their children's cribs, feel glory in the sight of new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end, or will it ever end?
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a a time for wandering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time of singing, a time of wandering, a time for worshiping.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wandering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
You may be seated. Let us now enter into a time of awareness within ourselves and connection beyond boundaries, connection to one another, to that interdependent web of life, of which we are each but one small thread. As we breathe in, we are connected. As we breathe out, we are connected. Here we gather to remember, to recall, to reinterpret the message of a holiday and a story that calls to us across millennia, ancient and modern, all at once. Christmas disrupts. Christmas soothes. Christmas brings joy. Christmas asks us to change. I invite you to listen to three wise ones from our own tradition on what Christmas can mean. From Mary Wellemeyer. Like those shepherds who were on the hillsides with their flocks, like those wise ones in their observatories with their telescopes and astronomical charts, we find our daily work interrupted by these holidays. Like them, we can't keep on working. We have to listen to singing angels. We have to deal with the call of that special star. The little town of Bethlehem is thronged with people who have come to be taxed, crowding streets and shops, and we have to find our way to an unknown place where a wonderful new beginning awaits. What precious new beginning are you seeking this night? For what do you push through crowds? For what have the angels told you? What is the call of the star? New beginnings disrupt. New beginnings soothe. New beginnings bring joy. New beginnings ask us to change. From Anna Tullo. Not so peaceful the streets of Bethlehem today. Quiet, perhaps, but the quiet of fear. The stillness of holding one's breath is not peace. A time of tension, of occupation, of many living as enemies in the land of their birth. Travel is dangerous. To be so exposed, without a waiting welcome, without sanctuary. Still the hopes and fears of all the years are found in thee tonight, in whispered words and fretful embraces, in tears cried, candles lit, food shared, love given, despite and because of looming violence and war. Then, as now, a mother's labor cannot wait for a better day, an easier way, a kinder world. For this is the world in its most desperate need, unhoused and afraid. A mother's labor cannot wait, not when love is being born. Love disrupts, love soothes, love brings joy, and love asks us to change. From Kendall Gibbons. Christmas proclaims its ancient, enduring summons of peace on earth, goodwill to all people everywhere. You can't stop a day like that with a little hardship, or greed, or injustice. It will show up anyway, shining the light of a midnight star into the darkest places of our collective lives. Do not underestimate the power of the manger and the hope it holds. The Christmas song of the angels is not as innocent as it seems. It has turned the world upside down before now. It still can. Christmas disrupts. Christmas soothes. Christmas brings joy. And Christmas asks us to change. Here we gather to remember, to recall, to reinterpret the message of a holiday and a story that calls to us across millennia, ancient and modern, all at once. As we breathe in, we are connected. As we breathe out, we are connected. May our minds create a vision of the world radical enough to be called holy. May our actions contain the promise of hope and the commitment to justice. May our hearts remember that love is a power that resists all forms of fear. By our thoughts, by our actions, by our hearts, and by our very breath, may it be so. Because we only do this once a year, and I never know if it's someone's first time, we want to demonstrate how we're going to pass the light in a moment. We do this because we always keep the lit candle upright. We never tip the lit candle. This helps us not spill hot wax all over our friends and family. It also helps us not light anything on fire we do not intend to. And to pass the light, the unlit candle is the one that receives the light, like so. Tonight, on this night, filled with story, magic, and song, we celebrate the returning of the light. This year, our community is present in this space and spread across homes near and far. Though we gather in new ways, we remain a community. We gather light in our sanctuary and in each of our homes to carry into the world beyond. Rexford J. Steinzens reminds us, Christmas is a risk for us to take. Shall we allow ourselves to be touched by sentiment, awakened by song and story, drawn into festivities when our joy depends upon the goodwill of others? Dare we risk the disappointment of hopes raised high and excited expectations? May we have the courage to celebrate the season fully. Now, as we prepare to share the light of Christmas, the growing spark of anticipation will be spread here in this space, and those gathered with us online are invited to add your own light with candles you have in your home. We know that the light is not our own. We did not make it, and it does not belong to us. Yet it grows as we share it, in spite of all our faults and follies. Every one of us may be a giver of light, a bringer of hope, a source of shelter, compassion, and peace to the world. May the reverence of this cherished season live in our hearts all year long. Let this be a moment of joy. As we gather here in the dark with candlelight grown by our community, take a moment to look around, to hold this moment in your mind. From Renee Rushatsky, the Spirit of the Holy dwells in each of us. The Spirit of love dwells in each of us. May the flames in our hands remind us that eternal love dwells in our hearts. May the flames in our hands remind us that the Spirit of life dwells among us as we gather as a faith community. May the flames in our hands remind us that the arc of the universe needs our embodied love and faith to bend toward justice. And I will invite you to hold your candles and extinguish them along with me as I extinguish our chalice.
Our chalice extinguishing words this evening are from Reverend Gordon B. McKeeman. Worship need not cease. It can echo in our lives, in our words, in our deeds, in our moods, in our dreams. Carry worship with you wherever you may go. Be a blessing in your going out and your coming in.
Now the work of Christmas begins by Howard Thurman. When the psalms of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the people, to make music in the heart.
Together, if the faith